We're partnering with NoCD to raise awareness about OCD. OCD is more than what you see on TV and in the movies. Imagine having unwanted thoughts about your relationship stuck in your head all day, no matter how hard you try to make them go away. That's relationship OCD. It comes with unrelenting, intrusive images, thoughts, and urges about your partner or loved one. Breaking the OCD cycle takes effective treatment. Go to nocd.com to get evidence-based treatment. Another myth is that people think they should be able to handle their struggles on their own, like without therapy. And yeah, I highly disagree with that one also, because I feel like if support is available, reach out. Hi, I'm Erin, licensed clinical mental health counselor and OCD specialist. I'm also a wife, mom to 3, and small business owner, helping those who are spiraling from intrusive thoughts to come out of that valley with long-term recovery and self-awareness. Reheat your coffee and pop in your AirPods to learn how to boss up to OCD. Okay, let's talk about 10 myths around therapy, whether you want to call them excuses or misunderstandings or misbeliefs. Whatever you want to call it, I'm going to be covering 10 different topics today when it comes to therapy. Because ultimately, what we want to do is help you get to living a better quality of life. So let's use this episode as like your springboard to scheduling that consult. Because everything is with a click of a button these days, y'all. It's that easy. Well, I say it's that easy, but it's that easy to schedule. And your therapist, your OCD specialist, they can make it a rewarding and fulfilling mental health wellness journey as long as you're willing and ready to commit. So I hope this episode gets you closer to that goal and in that phase of commitment and saying, yes, I am ready to do this. Okay, so when it comes to therapy, women are more likely than men to go get mental health treatment. So with that, 1 in 4 women, according to this study, it's showing 25.6% of women go get help, where only 14.6% of men get help from therapy. So that's just going to therapy in general. But now there's another study that was published in the National Library of Medicine that talks about for those that struggle with OCD, only 35 to 40% of OCD sufferers go to therapy. So not even half of the people who have OCD go get help. And that's so surprising to me. Even like reading that fact and just kind of acknowledging that, wow, not even half of OCD sufferers go get help is so surprising, because OCD can be very severe and OCD can create a lot of suffering, but people aren't getting help for that. So I'm hoping, my goal is that no matter where you are in your wellness journey, my hope is that you all get mental health support. I mean, why not? So I won't stay on that soapbox too long, but I will say you're stronger than you know, and you are deserving of a happy life. All right, and with these myths or excuses, misunderstandings, you've probably heard a lot of these phrases and ideas before, or maybe you're one of the people who said them. So first one that comes to mind is how people believe that therapy is going to help you feel better after each and every appointment. Wow, no pressure, right? No, I'm just kidding. Because therapy is not about helping you, quote unquote, feel better. It's about helping you reach your goals. And so sometimes we have to go through the hard in order to help you get clearer on what you want and how to get there. And you're not always going to feel better after a therapy session. So, I mean, in a way, I sometimes think about therapy like going to the gym. You know, like you get this heavy feeling or this dread and you're like, man, I don't want to go. So I can imagine similar thing comes up for you when you're thinking about going to your therapy appointment, especially if you're in OCD treatment and you're doing the exposure response prevention work. It's not easy. It is a mental workout. So just like going to the gym and getting a physical workout, sometimes therapy can be a mental workout. Some people enjoy it, some people don't, but all in all, you're taking those steps because you know you need to, and you know that life can be better, and that's why you're there. Now, maybe you're stuck in some doubt or fear or worry. Wherever it is you're stuck, believe that you can get unstuck. And therapy, while you can make a lot of progress, and yes, you can feel better after some of the appointments, it can also happen that your progress goes up and down, that sometimes you feel great and then sometimes not so great. Like in working with panic disorder, for example, it uses very similar techniques with the exposure response prevention. And someone with panic disorder, they may be doing very well for several weeks, and then all of a sudden a new fear pops up. And in this case, it's almost like health anxiety for this example, because imagine that you get panicky over the fear of having a heart attack, and like you can do great for a while, but then something on TV pops up about a heart attack, and then you start experiencing intrusive thoughts about having a heart attack. And like you thought you were doing well, but then you go down the spiral of like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not doing well. What if I do have a heart attack? And so then you get all amped up, and maybe you have a panic attack, maybe you don't, but you're starting to feel judgmental about yourself, and you think, well, maybe therapy's not working. No, that is not the case. So just because you have a regression doesn't mean that therapy's not working. Okay, what you can do is take that information to your therapist, let them know what your struggles are, and see where you got stuck or where your thoughts, for example, start going down the wrong path, or what fear happened that you had the most trouble with, or whatever the case may be. So just because you backslide, whether a little bit or a lot, it doesn't mean that therapy's not working. Life happens. Setbacks happen. Being uncomfortable happens. Feeling better can take time and perseverance and being persistent. And so it's very common for therapy to have ups and downs, just like life. Life has its ups and downs. But what you're working on is helping yourself prepare and be able to manage and navigate these hard times whenever they do happen. And so therapy can equip you with those tools and strategies to guide you in those tough moments. All right, another myth about therapy is when, and this might be an excuse that you're using, is whenever you're thinking that, oh, my OCD is too severe, my anxiety is too much to go to therapy, and therapy won't work because I'm just a lost cause. My symptoms are so much that I feel just too far gone. So, like OCD, it likes to create those intrusive thoughts because it feeds off your fear, and it can be very easy to give in to those intrusive thoughts and to believe things that aren't true. So while OCD may try to convince you that your symptoms are too severe or too extreme, therapy for OCD is highly effective, and there are times and moments, and there are places that can treat you, and there are places that can help you with your OCD no matter how severe. Okay? So maybe going to therapy once a week is not enough. Maybe you might want to consider an intensive program, meaning like you're doing therapy multiple times a week for several weeks at a time. That's a program that I'm in the works of creating, and I can't wait to get this on the ground and running because I have helped so many people in just the once a week therapy that they get better so quickly, even with just that once a week meeting, that I can't wait to bring you a more intensive therapy program. So, imagine doing this work a couple of hours a day, multiple days a week, and then you're feeling better before Christmas or before Thanksgiving or before that big vacation you want to go on or that graduation you want to go to or the birthday party or having your baby. Yeah. So with this intensive program I'm designing, I really want it to be for those who are ready and committed to feeling better and are willing to put in the time to make it happen. And so what's nice about the intensive program is that it keeps you out of the hospital and you can do it from home. Because I intend to offer virtual care for those of you who are located in North Carolina and Virginia. So I'm going to be having a wait list come out for that. And I'm only going to take one person at a time for this intensive program because what I want to offer is this one-on-one customized intensive therapy package where you can get full support for several weeks and then walk away and feeling like that's the last OCD program you ever have to do. Because that's how effective therapy can be, and why not pack it in, make it quick so that you can start living that value-driven life and moving on to that place where you want to feel peace and contentment. So often when I'm doing these free 15-minute consults with patients, I'm asking them what they're looking for, and they're like, man, I pray for contentment. I pray for a moment of peace. So imagine that you could go through an intensive program and then in a few weeks, that's what you're experiencing. That peace, that serenity. Man, it makes me excited thinking about it. So yeah, check out the link in the show notes for more information. You can always go to my website at valuedriventherapy.com to read about the services and programs that I offer. So the next myth, which you can probably already guess that I disagree with, is how therapy is a waste of time and energy and money and nothing will change. Totally, totally false. Because things can change in therapy as long as you want them to, right? I mean, the therapist, I cannot wave a magic wand, sadly, and make things all better for you. The great thing about therapy is that we are working towards your goals and your wishes and your desires. Now, OCD may trick you into feeling hopeless and feeling like there's no treatment out there that's going to change what's happening. That's, again, an intrusive thought, and it's not true. And your OCD is lying to you. Because many people can get relief and learn skills and strategies to take with them for the rest of their life to continue in feeling better. We're partnering with NoCD to raise awareness about OCD. OCD is more than what you see on TV and in the movies. Imagine having unwanted thoughts about your relationship stuck in your head all day, no matter how hard you try to make them go away. That's relationship OCD. It comes with unrelenting, intrusive images, thoughts, and urges about your partner or loved one. If you think you may be struggling with relationship OCD, there's hope. NoCD offers effective, affordable, and convenient OCD therapy. NoCD therapists are trained in exposure response prevention therapy, the gold standard treatment for OCD. With NoCD, you can do virtual, live, face-to-face video sessions with one of their licensed specialty trained therapists. It's affordable and they accept most major insurance plans. Breaking the relationship OCD cycle takes effective treatment. To get started with NoCD, go to nocd.com/savage. Another myth is that people think they should be able to handle their struggles on their own, like without therapy. And yeah, I highly disagree with that one also, because I feel like if support is available, reach out. Like if you're struggling with something, access a resource. If you have a question, go get an answer. Don't stay stuck. And if handling it on your own is like your mission, then how come it hasn't worked by now? Right? Like, I'm sure you've been trying to handle this on your own for all this time. So, I mean, you haven't gone anywhere. Like, why isn't it working? Well, because likely you need support. We all do. And we're social creatures. We are designed for relationships with others. And when you're dealing with OCD, more often than not, it's going to require professional interventions. I like to think about, going back again to that gym example, I like to think about it like your personal trainer. Like, you may know some knowledge about how to work out and what makes a good workout, but do you really push yourself to reach those fitness goals on your own? Or are you more likely to reach those goals quicker and faster and more efficiently, and probably safer, if you have a personal trainer, right? So that's how your OCD specialist can be for you. It can help you get those results in a more efficient and safer way. All right, another myth is that if I start therapy, then I'll become dependent on my therapist forever, or I'll be in therapy forever. Again, not true. My favorite thing is to graduate you from therapy. It's wonderful to see you change from day one to the day that we are wrapping things up and giving you the kudos and acknowledging all of that great work that you've done and how far you've come in therapy. Never would I want you to stay in therapy forever. I do appreciate you guys and you are great people, but you have to live your life. That's part of my role in your life. I'm here for a purpose and for a specific time in your life. And if you're dependent on your therapist, let's say you're in that boat, like, what are you going to do if your therapist moves? Or what if your therapist changes jobs? People do shift and have a change in circumstances all the time. That's life. So are you prepared to do things on your own? Can you independently handle your struggles? That's something for you to wrestle with and answer for yourself. But my style of therapy is that I want you to feel independent and empowered and feel equipped to move forward with your life in a healthy and positive way. Another myth is that therapy will force you to do things that you're not comfortable with or you're not ready for and will only make things worse. So, in the ethics of therapy, first and foremost, it is to do no harm. And exposure response prevention isn't for the faint of heart, but what I can tell you is that you can do it. Every step that we talk about, I can make a smaller step if that's what you need. And whenever we are talking about the different exposures and the fears that you have, we can always break it down into something more manageable. So therapy will push you, but it will not push you too hard to where you are regressing or exposing you to something that is unbearable. Because exposure response prevention, when done well, is done at a pace that is reasonable and respects your readiness. And it's designed to gradually and safely challenge you, because we have to challenge your fears so that your brain can get that corrective experience. It's one thing to talk about it, right? But it's another thing to do it. And that's why the actual activities of doing the exposures can be so powerful and so life-changing. And you can get on a roll really fast once you start getting in it, because really what we want to do is get you to that place of willingness where you're like, yeah, bring it on. I am so ready to feel better. I'm good. I'm not holding back. Another frustrating part, and it's not necessarily a myth, y'all, because I see it too many times, is when people feel like therapy is a last resort. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish you had come in sooner. Because by the time you have clicked the button to schedule a consult, or you picked up a call, or you picked up the phone to call somebody and schedule an appointment, you're at the point of desperation. Now, don't get me wrong, I totally understand when a crisis happens, okay? Like, we can't always predict the future, but y'all, I know it's hard whenever you are at your wit's end with your OCD I don't recommend making therapy as a last resort. If anything, you should make it your first resort so then you can save yourself so much agony. But oftentimes people will do it as a last resort because they've tried everything and they feel defeated, and that sucks, Like, it's hard when you feel that way. And so seeking out therapy and getting help from a therapist is a very courageous step in helping you improving your mental health. All right. Last but not least, there is this belief that is truly a misunderstanding about how therapists have an answer for everything. Like, therapists know the answers to all life's problems. Man, if only I were so lucky. Totally joking. Yet therapy is not about your therapist giving you answers, nor does your therapist have the answer for everything. Sorry, guys. Bubble busted. Yeah, I mean, therapists are human too. And it burns my buttons whenever people throw shade at therapists for not knowing better. And you should know better because you're a therapist. Like, come on. Everybody has their stuff and we all make good and bad choices. So basically what I'm saying is not every therapist has it all together, nor do they have it together all the time. Now, can they show up and be professional? Yes, absolutely. At home, can they be going through some personal struggles? Yeah, because they're human. But on top of that, kind of going back to the thing I was saying earlier about not being dependent on your therapist, what can tend to happen is it's like the perfect duo in a way of the client is really wanting answers and the therapist is the one that gives advice. Well, I will say I give advice too, but the therapist gives too much advice where the person is not really learning how to do things on their own for themselves. So basically what I'm saying is, yes, your therapist will have advice from time to time, or they may be direct with you on something that may be good for you, right? But your therapist is not going to tell you what to do, if that makes sense. So, I will never tell you what to do. I may say, hey, here's some pros and cons. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Now, if you do make this type of choice, have you thought about this type of result or this type of outcome? To get you thinking in a way that will be healthy and helpful and give you positive results. In reality, therapy is more of a collaborative process where a therapist is going to explore your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors, your history, and we're going to find your solutions. Okay? So we're not advice givers. And in fact, I don't even like to be referred to as a shrink, but that's just my own pet peeve. So anyway, a therapist gives you guidance, support, and tools. It's not a one-size-fits-all to every problem. So in treating the emetophobia, the fear of throwing up, we may do certain exposure response prevention exercises for one patient that's going to look very different for you. And that's what's also beautiful about being a therapist is that every single client is unique and every single treatment plan is unique because you are unique and you are your own person and you are seeking your own results and you're doing your own journey. You're taking your own path. So that's exactly what therapy is going to be about. It's not my answers for you. It's what you want for you. We're partnering with NoCD to raise awareness about OCD. OCD is more than what you see on TV and in the movies. Imagine having unwanted thoughts about your relationship stuck in your head all day, no matter how hard you try to make them go away. That's relationship OCD. It comes with unrelenting, intrusive images, thoughts, and urges about your partner or loved one. Breaking the OCD cycle takes effective treatment. Go to nocd.com to get evidence-based treatment. I hope all of this information was super duper helpful and helps clear the air on any excuses or myths or misunderstandings you have about therapy, because with only 35 to 40% of OCD sufferers getting therapy, that's way too little, y'all. Come on, we need to amp that up. Can we double that? Let's dream big here. Yeah, so let's dream big. Let's try to double those stats. Let's get 70 to 80% of OCD sufferers in therapy. Now, I would love for 100% to go to therapy and be in remission and all the things, but let's take it one step at a time, right? All right. Well, check out the information in the show notes. And if you're interested in an intensive therapy program, what I'm going to have coming up first are intensives for moms. So if you are a mom or a mom to be, and you're having like harm thoughts or sexual intrusive thoughts, contamination thoughts, you name it, grab a spot on my calendar to get a consultation. I've got a link in the show notes. If you're that mom or mom to be, and you're ready to have this OCD stuff behind you, yeah, because this intensive therapy program is going to be for moms only. And like I was saying earlier, it's only going to be for one mom at a time. I'm very excited about this service, and I can't wait to continue adding success stories. And I want you to be that next success story. All right. Well, thank you for listening, and come back next week as I'm going to have an episode about harm OCD. Thank you for listening to another episode of Bossing Up, Overcoming OCD.
This information is intended to be helpful and not a substitute for professional counseling.
If you're struggling with any mental health challenges, I encourage you to seek help from a qualified therapist or healthcare professional. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to rate and review the show. Your feedback helps us reach more listeners, and don't forget to check out the affiliate links in the show notes for hand-picked recommendations that can brighten your day. Your support through these links helps keep the show running and provide valuable content. You're not alone in your journey. Stay strong, stay resilient, and keep bossing up. See you next time.